We are live. Welcome, people, from the wonderful Tuesday because we have holiday today in Austria. And I'm totally thrilled that I'm allowed to talk with Angela Wells from the Global NLP Summit. But this time, I get interviewed. Hello. hello from Austria.
Hello. Welcome, Austria.
Yes.
So, from my perspective, it's also welcome to the Global NLP Summit community. And today we are indeed in conversation with Bernadette Bruckner, who will be telling us, first of all, about herself, so we can get to know who Bernadette is and her NLP journey and all the other therapies that intermingle with NLP. I think so many people are able to masterfully, work with NLP and the other therapies, because then they have so much power when we can work and interlink them to other things. I think there's so much overlap that creates so much, much deeper healing experience and results as well. So welcome, Bernadette. And also we're going to be finding out about Bernadette's session in the Global NLP Summit that's taking place in January next year, called The Power of Your Inner Child. So welcome, Bernadette.
Welcome. I'm totally thrilled that I'm allowed to speak at your Global NLP Summit, because sometimes NLP has such a bad taste, and it's time that it's becoming a new view on it, and actually what is all about it. Because when we look at it, there are methods learned from others so that we can teach it to others. And as probably every single one who gets in touch with NLP, you just develop it further, especially or modeling, however you want to call it. And that's what I actually did out of the people who I'm allowed to meet and work with my clients. And I always say I learn from every single person I just meet and encounter and am allowed to talk to and work with.
Yeah, great. When was the first time, I'm curious, when was the first time you encountered NLP for yourself, and what was the kind of realization you had as a result of that?
It's a long time. I think because I know where I did my first NLP course, but I have no idea anymore when. I think it was 2003.
Right.
And it was in Vienna, and it was actually out of the need because I had my first burnout. And I was like, I never wanted to go to a therapist. I always said I wanted to know the how and the why myself, and invest the money instead of being the therapist. I'm sorry out there, but invest in myself and in further education. And there I discovered NLP. And when I did, it was like one day NLP introduction thing. And I was like, I like it. I like what I hear there. And there was the 3-day. And there was one method, and I still remember it. I don't know if it's also the same calling in the English, but it was like change time history.
Yes.
Was the method called. And yes. This was so profound for me because I had a flashback from something I experienced as a child, which was weird, and I began to understand. And there was a lot of emotion in myself, and it just released. And I still remember, it's so interesting, I still remember it. I mean, it's close to 20 years, but I was totally crying, and I was only just doing this one, touching, and I was like releasing all the emotions. And it was like, this was so freaking profound, because afterwards the topic was gone. And I was like, I want to learn more. And NLP is, in my perspective, something to learn more about you, yourself, and also your subconsciousness, and why you have those tragedies, or why you act the way you do, and seeing the challenges the way you do and others don't. That's the only reason. And that's why I learned from the best, what I could afford, what I globally I truly went to Richard Bandler and also Robert Dills and all other really, really, really good people to discover that everything what I learned there, I get now the strategy, the how, what I actually did as child anyway.
Yep.
And this was so profound for me. And there is one method, and I still remember because till today I cannot do it anymore. I was learning very well as child. And I actually was visualizing and also doing inner work and also in 3D and everything else. And that's why I was so good in school. Since I know through the NLP courses the how, it doesn't work anymore. I got really bad in learning the way what I was really good at child, only because my brain knows now the how. And this is still something what I'm like, how can I get rid of the how again that it's working again, but it doesn't matter.
It's amazing, isn't it? That I mean, we call it the difference that makes the difference. And I think, as you say, to be able to learn from the best that you can afford is also key when it comes to learning NLP and being able to identify someone who is good at what they do and who fits with perhaps your own way of learning. Especially NLP means that you then have a good experience of NLP. And then want to take it forwards and utilize it for yourself and hopefully to share with others as well.
That one day for me, it was like seeing behind NLP and seeing all the ancestors, I always say the grandfathers and grandmothers of NLP, only because there is way much more there. And as I want to become a family therapist, like Virginia Satir, of course, this is a direction where I look way much deeper in it, but I also look at others. Fritz Perls, I mean, they're brilliant people out there. And unfortunately, they are not alive anymore. Otherwise, I would go also to them. But I found in Germany someone who has all the old records from Milton Erickson, Virginia Satir, and everything else. And this is for me something, okay, there I can learn again. Only that because there are so many brilliant insights in there, it's not getting lost, but developed it further, adapted further. And that's what I actually did also with the inner child healing, because inner child healing is nothing completely new. There are all different views on it and also concepts on it, but I just went further on. I'm a kind of a person, when I miss something, I just do research and everything and just work on it with my clients to make, I don't want to say to make it better, but to make it for me something, yes, now I like it.
Right.
And I see how the clients grow. I see the results of the clients. And these are many, many reasons why I say, okay, now it's time to truly go out with it with all my researches. I always say I'm a research nerd. I'm a person who just likes to design and just working on methods, working on solutions, working on something, supporting and nurturing others, till it's so easy that you can truly implement it in your daily living. And when you see all the pioneers from NLP alive and not alive anymore, we know what we are actually capable of.
Yes.
And we know, I always say my most beautiful journey is discovering myself, is discovering my subconsciousness, my blind spots and everything else, and also combine it, making a bridge from practice to science. And we know nothing about ourselves. And we most of the time, I don't know, like in Austria, we have the Gemütlichkeit, we are comfy people. And only because when there's some kind of pressure, we do something, maybe, or maybe not, where we need a disease, or something else challenge. And then we begin to grow or to find someone else who is supporting us. What if learning can be fun again? And seeing the challenge or the daily living is discovering ourselves and our gifts.
Yeah, beautiful.
That's what I'm
And
doing.
it sounds as though you really are a master, because you're taking this to a much deeper level than most would do, with all your research, as you say, to the grandfathers and grandmothers of NLP, right through to the techniques and the models as to how you can work on them to make them easier to implement, and ultimately to share with others for other people's development and growth and healing.
The background is easy. I actually developed my own nutrition style and my own coaching therapy style for me, only to survive. And one day people are asking me, because most of the time I did subconscious and with my intuition, I'm a high sensitive person, I just did it. And one day people came to me and they were actually NLP trainer. Right. And they asked me, how do you do it? And I was like, I have no idea. Let's find out, because with NLP we have the modeling method. So we did 3 days. They asked me they did modeling on me. And at the last day it was like, we said, we don't want anymore. This is so much mind fuck, only because that we know the strategy, what you're doing intuitively. And I said, yes, I don't want to do it anymore either. But since then I went on, only that we can show other people, and only actually that I understand how I function, and also begin to train other people how I'm doing it.
Yes.
And then when I'm not satisfied, I just go on. And I do it as so long that it's so easy that we also can teach it to children. This is something what I always wanted to do, teaching to children, and also make it so practical that you can implement it in your daily living. And I know out of nutrition, and also from my background of health management, I have my diploma in health management, that healthy habits, we don't change when it's too complicated.
Yes.
And so I said, okay, I have to find, as usual, solutions or something what is making it so easy that it's possible to implement in our lifestyle and daily living. This is something what I'm doing. And not only do my PhD research, but also I never wanted to be in the spiritual thing. I always wanted to make a bridge between science and practical things, and also include, of course, the all levels, also the spiritual levels. But just bring in science, because there is so much out there what is explainable. And we have already so many models and disciplines. And my biggest aim is, of course, that I can reach doctors and mothers and people who are, and teachers, of course, who are working with children. And most of the time, they just need the science part. And I said, okay, I will find the science to it. I'm pretty sure about that one. And I did, especially in the field of neuroscience, in the field of quantum science and psychology. And with the newest part of neurobiology is neuroplasticity. There I found my discipline and understand way much more why my stuff actually works. And this is, for me, it's like, okay, I'm a practical person who just loves to be a science nerd. And for me, I'm just going out there, do my practice, and then going back to science and want to understand why is actually my stuff working.
Right.
That's what I'm doing. And with my PhD,
so you're kind of reverse engineering what you do, and then finding out how you do it, and tying it back to science.
And for me, the most important part is having fun with it. If I take something too serious because I have now something created, I have no idea thing, then it doesn't work. I see it out of the fun and just seeing it when it works in the practice. And I don't find any scientific model, I just throw it away, and vice versa. If I see it in the science and I cannot implement it in the practical sites, then it doesn't make sense to me, and I just throw it away.
Right.
Because both are very relevant, and also it it discover our subconsciousness and how we actually function. Because I truly believe there is no disease out there. They only just use in a different part of consciousness what may be subconscious in my part. But it doesn't mean that it's wrong.
Absolutely. And you're just fulfilling what works, finding what works.
Yes.
Which is one of the main premises of NLP, is doing what works, the study of what works.
Then it doesn't work, we don't need it.
Sounds no wonder those people were modeling you.
I don't know how to say it, but as more as I got connected with my inner child, as more as I found the fun and the easiness what children have in the daily living. And when I see top managers or mothers or someone who's totally into stress and also in disease, of course, there is no lightness in there anymore, and the childlike thinking and the view on the world is just missing. And I think it's just sad.
Yeah,
let's change it.
Want to make things fun, and
yes.
We learn the easiest when we're having fun, right?
Yes.
So what drew you to the work of the inner child?
When I began that we could teach or also understand the way what I'm doing, I work with more and more clients, also on the research basic, because I just want to understand myself way much better. And one day, someone who is actually did another course with me, he was talking about, okay, there's a couple of things happen in my childhood. Do you want to work on it? And I said, yes, of course, because I just created my method. I just want to go on with it. And we did 3 days inner child healing. After this one, he bought himself a teddy bear. And this was so touching me that I said, okay, I see the benefit in the inner child healing, and I just want to go on. But bring in way much more different concepts, different views, different things. And I truly was blessed the last 10 years having clients who were so open that I could truly play with them and use concepts who maybe are out of their world, maybe out of something what we know, but they were open for it, for playing. And I was truly blessed with it. That was one of many reasons why my method is the way it is. And I do regression therapy next to the inner child healing, and also something from the quantum theory, and also from neuroplasticity, and just bring it together. Out of the high sensitivity and the feeling, now we can use this one because he said something. What I feel, it's good, now we use it. And I see the benefit of giving concepts in there, and I don't have to believe in anything. That's what we actually learn from NLP anyway. As NLP trainer or as NLP coach or therapist, the therapist, we don't have to know anything. But if I go into the field of my client, I just sense what I sense. And this is something what I see the most is the key thing why I get so deep with the people, and I truly go deep with them. When you use the regression therapy, and I don't have to believe in the regression therapy, but it works. The same with timeline. The same with, I also use parallel timelines, because Einstein said time and space is relative, and our brain doesn't know if it's past or future. I can use this one. And out of the neurobiology, everything what we remember is always connected with a picture and an emotion. And my client tells me which age, My clients tells me with pictures coming up and which emotion, not me. Because I truly believe that everybody knows themselves the best. No one else. I only have to ask and listen.
Powerful.
Yes. And so simple. I still remember, I don't know, in the German-speaking world, we had a movie. I grew up. The movie was from Michael Ende was his name. And there is a book called Momo. I don't know if it is ever was translated or not in any other language, but it was so profound for me. And this Momo was sitting next to the people and just listen. This is something what I do since childhood. I grew up in a cafe and there were many, many people, many stories there. And I'm pretty sure this was one of the biggest reasons why I became the person or the therapist or the coach who I am today. Because it was so totally profound. You got enlightened?
Yes, because I haven't moved for a while. All the lights went off in the evening.
Okay. And this is something, and I want to give all the listeners out there one question. What was your favorite movie, comic, or person before 7 years? Because it's always someone or something what is just triggering you, or something what just is a part of yourself and also the way you are today.
Yeah.
And this question I got when I did family constellation. I think that's the English word for it.
Yes.
And because I'm totally systemic thinking, and I truly believe in all the systemic models out there, because that's how it functions the best. And I saw the power also of this one, and connect with inner child and connected to yourself again. Because a lot of people have no idea how the life was in the first 5 to 7 years. That's interesting. I ask so many people and I cannot remember. Your subconsciousness remembers. And the most interesting part, and that's what something else I wanna talk about the Global NLP Summit, is my inner child healing is going beyond the living. I also do a lot of inner child healing while you're in the womb and before. And I give you an example because it's, again, someone who touched me so deep. I said, I have to go on with it. He said to me, my mom wanted to have a girl, but I'm a boy. And I see with my boy that I give subconscious something to my boy. I don't want to. Let's work on my inner child healing, because there is some hurtings there. And I see it, I just subconsciously give it to my son. I said that this is not a good idea. Let's work on it. So we did a rebirth.
Right.
We did rebirth, and this was so profound and so beautiful. I just like rebirth. It's so beautiful, and just welcome yourself, and welcome, not waiting for others to welcome you, but you welcome yourself now as the person you are today.
Right.
And I truly believe not only that we subconsciously give to our children or grandchildren something what is actually our topic, so that we heal it on ourselves. And the other one is also that a lot of mental illness arises exactly from that. That we were not welcomed, that someone else were expected, or that you were unwanted, or all those topics. I just like my work.
Subject.
Yes, I just like my work.
Yeah.
There is one, and a truly, it's just a passion. I want to give it to all the listeners. Did you as grown-up person outside of Disneyland or Disney World, something what is so childish that maybe other people said you're not allowed to do this one because you're grown up now person. And we Austrians are actually, in my opinion, funny people, but there are still something there was like, you can't do that. You're in the public. You're a grown-up person. You cannot do this one. And I said, yes, of course you can. Outside of Disneyland, yes, you can. And this is when I visit Disneyland and Disney World, and I'm a huge fan of that. Right. I saw in there that grown-up people became little children wearing their big mouse ears and all whatever. And outside, they were like, no, I can't do this. Well, of course you can. But the framing in Disneyland and Disney World is just different.
Yes.
And do we actually need the allowance from others, from a certain frame, that we can nurture our inner child?
Mm.
That's what we are doing at the Global NLP Summit, and I'm looking forward to it.
So it's going to be a playful session. You're bringing Disneyland to the Global Summit.
Yes, something like that, but the Austrian version. The Austrian version.
This is why we're global.
Yes. And it's just, for me, my biggest pleasure would be when everybody is nurturing their inner child. The world would be way much nicer. I always, I'm also keen saying it here. I would love working with every single politician out there globally on the inner child. I'm pretty sure all the meetings and decisions will be different afterwards.
Yes.
And I see so many hurt children in grown-ups, and always say the grown-up only in a big body now, but the hurted inner child is still there.
Yeah. Wow, it's sure to be a fascinating session when you join us. I think your session is on the Saturday, which is the 22nd of January. And so we are looking forward to seeing and hearing more of your Austrian joy and essence at the Global NLP Summit.
Yes.
Thank you for putting the banner up that tells you where you can get your tickets from. And also to find out more about what's happening. We have some free webinars coming up as well from some of our speakers so that you can get to know them a bit more. And of course, we'll be introducing some more of our NLP speakers. So if you would like your ticket as well, the early bird price is still valid. And so if you use Anita, where did I get that name from? I don't know where that name came from. Bernadettes discount code, you'll get an extra 10% off as well. So thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us, and also on your own channels today, Bernadette.
Yes.
It's been such a pleasure to meet you virtually and to get to know you a bit more and find out more about your session. So thank you very much.
Thank you too. Bye.
Bye.